Hi everybody, it's Mikey from Usuallybrokencars. We're doing something a bit different today and I'm starting a new series called Living With. In that series, what I'll be doing is I'll be finding people, interesting cars, just sitting down with the owner and learning a bit about them and a bit about the cars that they've got. We'll be looking at, everything from the quirks and features right through to the performance of the vehicle. So those of you who are new to the channel, this is not only what I do, I've also done some restoration work as well. But those of you who are, long-time subscribers, a new treat for you. So join us today for Living with Cars. Today's episode on Living With, I'm with James and we're looking at his Mark II 1985 Granada. So let's get into it. Thank you. James, tell me about the car. Tell me about your Granada. Year engine. What we got?
We've got a Mark II Granada estate, obviously, 1985.
Okay.
It's a 2.8 V6.
Nice.
It's the Cologne V6, whereas the 3-litre ones were the Essex.
Okay.
So fitted to a manual gearbox, 5-speed.
What mark is that?
It's a Mark II.
And how many marks did they do?
3, and then they did the Scorpios.
I mean, you'll have to completely educate me on Granadas because
so we've got. I think you started off with console Granada. Well, console Mark, and then came to Mark I Granada. Then you then went Mark II pre-facelift.
Okay.
Mark II facelift.
So is that a pre or is that a?
That's a facelift because of how the front bumper comes round, and then they've got bigger side mouldings.
Yeah.
And then they went Mark III and then Scorpios.
Okay.
So that's like, remember the Frog Eye?
Yes.
So
and they did the Scorpio with the Cosworth engines as well.
Yes, they did that. That was the ultimate. And then they also did a Mark III Cosworth one. So yeah.
That's cool, okay.
Yeah.
So how long you had the car?
I had brought it in September. So it'll be 2 years in September I've had it.
Right.
So yeah, no, it's it's something I've always wanted. I've always wanted one.
Because you've got a family, haven't you?
Yeah. So it's ideal. Got 2 young children. I've got a dog. It's perfect. I mean, I had an Escort before, Mark II Escort, 2-door. Couldn't get the dog in very easily. Couldn't get the children in very easily. Not with the car seats nowadays.
And now you've got like a TARDIS.
Yeah. And it takes.
I mean, I have
well.
been in it now, and it's humongous. But it doesn't. When you're in it, it doesn't feel huge. But you've just got rakes of space.
Yeah, and it's so comfortable. I mean, I've done Isle of Wight in it now. I've done Devon in it. It just sails along.
Yeah, it's perfect.
It's so comfortable.
Yeah. So what's your sort of favourite thing about the car? Like, give me 3 favourite things. Like,
I love the way it sits. I know
the stance, or in general.
I don't like stance term.
No, I must admit, stance isn't my favourite word.
I like how it sits.
Yeah. Okay.
I've always liked the shape of a Mark II Granada. I've always liked that, and I didn't really want to alter that. But by lowering it, sort of putting a different set of wheels on, that's upset some of the purists.
So, I mean, especially with the Merc wheels, because I think they look absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, some of you will know, I mean, me and James do know each other, but seeing them on it in the flesh, I think it looks absolutely fantastic. Like, genuinely, I love those. And it is, like you say, it is a controversial thing to put Merc wheels.
When I first got it, you saw it with the Mark III Granada Cosworth wheels on it.
Yeah.
And they were a very similar style of wheel, but they're only 16-inch, they're only 6J wide.
And having that dish, that dish does give it a real big difference. And it, like you say, again, not using the word stance, but we are using the word stance. Yeah. It gives it that real nice stance.
But it's funny, like, with it looking the way it does now, you're driving it down the road and there's a lot of like younger car enthusiasts going, what's that?
Yeah.
And that's what I like, because I grew up, I mean, I'm a little bit older than most, and it's sort of, I grew up with these
You're
cars.
not as old as Keith. Yeah. You'll get it.
I grew up with these cars and I always knew them, whereas a lot of people slightly younger than me wouldn't have necessarily seen these because they would have sort of started to really fade off by then.
Yeah.
So I mean, I was lucky to get this in such good condition that it was.
So you love the way it stands,
yeah,
or the not the stance but the stance.
Yeah.
You love the reactions you get to it. So what's that sort of? Give me that last one. What's the sort of final thing that you really love about owning this car?
It was just the dream to always have one, I suppose.
Really?
It was something that you've
so
always.
What, as in a Mark III a Mark II estate?
Not necessarily an estate. I think the estates are cool. school, my mum and dad always used to own saloons. So
Okay.
part of me would like a saloon at some point. But at the moment, for a family hauler,
I mean, to be fair, that's
fault
good
that.
because it brings me on to my next question.
Yeah.
What was your favourite car that your dad had?
He's had so many, like myself.
But what's that one, that go-to that you think of that your dad owned?
I don't really know. He's had M5, like E34 M5s,
Wow.
E28 M5.
That's
It's
really cool.
then Mark 1 Granadas, Mark 2 Granadas.
Nice.
There's so many of them.
Yeah,
I don't know. He had a yellow E30 BMW that was pretty
Wow.
cool.
Yeah, that's
It was,
cool.
it was originally a blue, but we bought it yellow, and then it had Z1 wheels on it at the time, which was like proper rare.
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
so that
absolutely.
was quite a cool
Said
car
one
to
with
have.
the BMW doors that go down.
Yeah,
into
but those wheels off of that onto an E30.
Yeah, that's
so. I'll have
cool.
to try and find a picture.
Yeah,
but
that'd be cool.
it's just.
If you find a picture, I'll put it
Yeah.
up and we'll
But it was a cool car to. That was always a car I liked. But you know, on your eBay search list, when you're sort of looking for cars, I still weirdly look up Vauxhall Cavaliers.
It's bizarre because before meeting James, I was never into the sort of what I would class as like the UK scene, so like the old Fords and the old Vauxhalls and stuff. And now James has got me looking.
The Astra GSIs.
Yeah,
and
that,
GTEs.
exactly. Trying to find that Mark 3 door. You know, it's cool.
So no, but I'd always look at Granadas and Cavaliers,
Yeah.
and it was always trying to find the right one. And funnily enough, that one found me. So
Yeah,
it
that's
was just
cool.
right place, right time.
So what's the thing that you don't like? That one thing that really bugs you about this car?
I suppose it's annoying when the car does come back with the odd rust bubble here and there. That upsets me because it takes time and money to get a car looking nice.
It does, and to be fair, like you look at it now, and even the sills from here
Yeah.
looks fantastic.
No,
So-
I know, but it's just there's things that you can see, and that's a problem I have personally.
But is that an OCD thing? Or is it, is it?
I don't know. Maybe I do have an element of OCD, but it's funny with what you do have OCD on. Like,
Yeah.
there's some things that really bug me about a car, but yet other things
See, I'm
I couldn't
not,
care less.
like things like the way my car looks, it doesn't really bother me a great deal, but it's more like if I get a rattle, I've got to find it. I have to find
Yeah.
where this rattle's coming from, and if it means changing a ball joint that's got no play in it, but it cures that rattle, I'll do it.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah.
No, it's but yeah, I suppose that thing has bugged me, and it's but I was quite strict with this car. It took me 4 years to build my Mark II Escort,
Yeah.
and I hadn't actually driven it until I took it for an MOT.
Right, okay.
So I'd never drove it. Whereas this car has been a rolling restoration.
I was going to ask, like, so in terms of modifications, obviously we can see the wheel and we can see it's been lowered, but
Yeah.
what else have you done to it?
Basically maintained it.
Yeah? Because it does look fairly stock on the outside, but I couldn't
Yeah.
tell you if it's been modified.
No. I mean, I've lowered it on 40mm lowering springs.
Yep.
I've put Avo adjustable shocks on it, but that was because my shocks were knackered, and I thought there's no point in changing springs on standard shocks, so
Yeah.
I changed those.
Yep.
And then, basically it's maintenance.
And is there any sort of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like OEM plus bits to it, like the chrome trim, is that all standard
That's
on
all
these?
standard.
Yeah.
The only thing that I think it's had done differently, and I think we'll probably show you later, is it would have had chrome bumpers. So between the bumper caps, it would have had chrome,
Oh, okay.
and it would have come with, I think, either 13 or 14-inch hubcaps.
Oh, okay. So what
So
size are the wheels?
They're 17-inch.
So what's
9J rear, 8J front.
so what's the actual tyre specs? If you've got uni rules, which I'm a big fan of the rain sports anyway.
Yeah, I think they're 205 on the front and then 215 on the rear,
Right,
and just
okay.
sort of stretched them.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
I
it's,
say I
it's a
want-
nice amount of stretch as well.
Yeah,
it's not
too in your
aggressive,
face.
And again, being in it, James has driven me out here today, and you can feel there's so much mechanical grip in the car, from the tyres and things. So like times of like running and stuff, is it particularly good on fuel? Is it, obviously you've done some long runs.
Yeah, I've never really I've never worked out the miles per gallon because that's never been important to me.
Yeah, of course,
It's purely just been
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, mate.
it's purely just been it's purely been just I've never really worked it out.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's just you just get in it, use it, and enjoy it.
But that's it. It's you don't count miles per gallon, you count miles per gallon.
Exactly that. But like, if you said to me, I'm going to go down to Devon, I'd think about taking that. I was going to take it to Devon the other week when I went, but I thought, well, actually, it's a bit wet and nasty.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I'll just take the daily runner. It didn't
This is
bother
it.
me. But
This
I would
is
have if that was nice and high and dry, that would have gone. And
So what's in your mind for it next? I know there is potentially if
I had toyed with selling it.
okay. So
Yeah.
if you weren't to sell it or it doesn't sell, what will you do to it next?
I don't really know. I suppose I'd continue with. I want to do the door shuts. So like the outside's had a good lick of paint.
Yeah,
But I would like to do the door shuts because if annoyingly whoever's painted it previous to my ownership has then blown into the door shuts. So it's not even got a finish that I could cut back. So that bugs me a little bit, I suppose, really. And at some point, I'd love to take the engine out and just give it maybe. I did toy with taking the engine out and putting a V8 in it.
Okay. And what V8 would you go with? Would you go modern V8 or would you go like period correct V8?
Well, I think originally I was looking at a supercharged Jag. The 4, is it the 4 litre?
Yeah.
I was looking at those.
So that's like late 90s for them.
Nice. To be fair, the way it runs, the way it drives, and the reality is, I don't have the time nor the funds to basically pull that off the road and do that.
Because this is carb, isn't it?
It is carb, yeah.
Okay. So do you know what carbs are on it?
A Pierberg single carb.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So could you do something like a twin carb conversion on it? Is it something
you can do a Holly conversion, but I think all you end up doing is drinking more fuel, making more noise, but you don't go that way any faster.
Right. Okay.
So
really,
but I think, to be fair, if you looked at doing cams
and
everything else, I'm sure you can really start to push them. But then what
sort of power does it make at the moment?
Well, I think it left Germany with 130 horsepower.
Out of 2.8, it makes 130 horsepower.
Yes,
I mean, it's still
better than America.
I was going to say, it's still better than over in the States.
But to be fair, it's so rounded for what it is.
Yeah, of course.
And I can't take that away from it. If I did decide to do something silly with a Mark II Granada, I'd probably use another shell that wasn't as nice as an original.
Exactly, I was about to say, this is too nice to chop up and start doing engine swaps and stuff on. Yeah, no, it's a lovely bit of kit.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, no, I think you've done, and for me, like I say, like having this series is to get to know the owners, get to know, just a bit more about the car world. And like I said, meeting James has got me into that old Vauxhall and old Ford scene, something that I was never into, and now I'm finding myself drawn to that scene and thinking, I want something like that. I mean, I've got like the 924, which is cool, and but it's really difficult to get a lease in that car. I could, yes, there is a rear seat, and yes, I could probably somehow get a child seat in it, but it's so impractical. Whereas this has got, in my opinion, so much more of a cool element to it. So I think
it's funny. Like you go to petrol stations and everything, someone's always stopping you.
Have you got like a really good memory where somebody's like just like jumped out and gone, oh my god,
To be fair, it's most car shows. People have always said, oh, I've always used to, Dad used to have one of these, or I used to have some. And, most people have had them, and I think that's why I always liked them. Everybody had them. They were seen on every street corner, weren't they? Every driveway used to have them.
Well, this is
They just sort of faded away.
So if you do sell, what will you replace it with? Would you go for something of a similar era?
I don't know.
Right.
I really don't know.
Okay, so if you enjoyed today's first episode of Living With, let me know in the comments below what you thought of James's car. And if you want to get involved in the channel, give me a DM, or you can message on the video. Either way, thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.